What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff from Lightsy Jr. with the Black Boss Channel. Thank you all for the continued support. Now, this is an interesting topic that's been surfing all over the internet. It is the dispute between a group of patrons, twerking patrons, at the True Kitchen and Cocktail in Dallas, and their owner, it's named Rick Kelley. Is his name? What's his man's name again? His name is Mr. Kelley. He's a black man who owns the True Kitchen and Cocktail in Dallas, Texas. Now, for those of you who don't know, True Kitchen is trending all over Twitter, all over Facebook, all over everywhere. And he is simply because Mr. Kelley was yelling on this viral rant to these ladies that were twerking in his restaurant. Now, I have my thoughts and opinions on this, but I had to bring in a special guest. My lady, someone who likes to partake in twerking from time to time, Miss Brianna Roberson. She is here to give her opinion on the True Kitchen and Cocktail issue, all the twerking and everything that was happening, and whether we think black women should be twerking in fine dining establishments. How you doing, Bri?
Hello, everyone. Like you said, I'm Brianna, and I'm just checking in with you guys, talking about this discussion. Being a black woman and at a fine dining, I don't think it's appropriate at all in an establishment to be twerking. In no shape, way, or form, especially to get up on, they were in the booths, especially to be up on the booths and be twerking. I don't think that's appropriate at all. As Jeff said earlier, you don't want your macaroni and cheese and someone twerking their booty right there in front of you. Like, I don't want that.
Well, I ain't said that yet, but I said that to you. So, but that is the thing. So, like, here's the thing. Be sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button, because this is a conversation I think we should be having. Like, should twerking be allowed in these restaurants? And Bree saying that she don't think so. And you get a lot of the Twitter trolls and the Twitter people that are saying, like, well, if you don't want twerking in your restaurant, don't play twerk music. And it's like, what? Like, what do you mean don't play twerk? Like, we're playing music that is of our culture. Be sure to put your B1s in the chat. Let me know that you are black first, because this is a black conversation. This is a conversation that we need to have. This is a conversation that needs to be had between black people amongst each other. Like, should twerking be allowed in restaurants? Now, here's my thing, right? So it's a black establishment. Mr. Kelley worked hard, like he said in the video. And we're going to play the video too, by the way. We're going to play the viral video, the viral clip. It's less than a minute. We're going to play it. He said he worked hard for his money. He worked hard for his building to give our culture somewhere to come celebrate, somewhere to have fun, somewhere to enjoy themselves. And that he built a lifestyle, it sounds like. And all he asks is to not twerk. Now, from what I understand, from all the articles that I've read and all the different things that I looked up in this story, he was saying that he had told these ladies prior, like, don't twerk, like we don't need that happening. And they're standing on his furniture and they are leaning against his glass. Like, this is a lot going on.
Just disrespecting his
just
restaurant.
very, very disrespectful. And so the man was just like, hey, y'all, like, don't twerk, like we can't do it. And then that's when he turned up the second time. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to take a look at Mr. Kelley's viral rant about the twerking in the restaurant at True Kitchen in Dallas. Now, this was a tweet from Tariq Nasheed. He posted the video. So let's see if we can expand this. Hold on. Here's Mr. Kelley. So that's the twerking going on right there. That's the lady standing on, leaning against the glass window. And here's Mr. Kelley's viral rant. All right, so that is Mr. Kelley's viral rant about twerking. So, Bree, what are your thoughts on the way Mr. Kelley handled the twerking? And what are your thoughts on the video? I think you've seen it before.
Yes.
But what are your thoughts on the video?
I think from the beginning, okay, say my girl was feeling good. She was enjoying herself, enjoying the music, enjoying the drinks, being there with her ladies, just having a good time. Was it inappropriate to get up on the booth? Absolutely, because you don't do that at home. So why would you bring that to this man's restaurant and completely disrespect it by you don't go to Cheddar's and stand up in their booths when you're out somewhere? Like that was completely disrespectful. And then the fact that he had a conversation with them prior to being recorded and it was just, hey, ladies, can you please stop? I really appreciate it, so forth. He gave them a fair warning. So the next time you do it, that's just complete disrespect. You don't care about what I have to say. You don't care about my restaurant. You don't care about the other people that are sitting here and eating. Now that was just uncalled for. They should have definitely just stopped it right then and there instead of continuing with their actions. That was just blatantly disrespecting him to his face, just saying, F you, I don't care about your business or what you have going on.
Okay, so we're being told you actually couldn't hear the actual video. I'm sorry about that. I apologize because I really wanted you guys to hear what he said. But what, just to sum up what Mr. Kelley said was he worked too hard to get his restaurant. He worked too hard to get what he got for y'all to be coming up here disrespecting his stuff. And so that's essentially, and he used a few curse words in there. And that's probably where I guess, see, that's the thing. What the message Mr. Kelley said was perfect. It was true. He did work hard to get his establishment. He did work hard to get everything that he has and the success that he has. I'm sure because True Kitchen, it seems like it's a pretty. I've only been in Dallas once, but True Kitchen seems to be popping. It seems like he's doing fairly well for himself. From the videos, it was pretty packed, so it looks like people enjoy that establishment. Where he probably turned a lot of people off was the curse words, right?
But also saying, "Can you get the F out? Or
Yeah,
you can get the F out of my restaurant."
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. The curse words, like the curse words, turned a lot of folks off, but that don't mean that it's wrong. Like that doesn't mean that it's wrong. Like what he the premise of what he was saying was completely true. Like he said, he gave. Not only did he tell you like he don't need to be twerking in my restaurant, he gave you options. He said you can go to Pink, you can go to Live, you can go to all these different places, you can twerk your ass off, right? Like, but here where folks is trying to eat ribs, steak, and mac and cheese, they don't want to have booty shaking next to them. I mean, at the strip clubs, that's acceptable. But in restaurants, just like if you were to go to Red Lobster or O'Charlie's or any of these, you know, what you consider like restaurants or fine dining, Roof Chris, fine dining experience or whatever, ain't no twerking going on. Folks ain't standing on top of furniture. Folks ain't going crazy in these places. Folks ain't doing this kind of stuff just to be justified. Now, one thing that I've seen online a few times was about the ratchetness, right? Like I think like as a culture, and Brie, I'm gonna get your pulse on this. As a culture, we associate being ratchet with Black women. And so when you have incidents like this, it's only magnified because it's a group of Black women, and a lot of Black women take offense to you discrediting ratchetness, not necessarily discrediting it, but anytime like somebody says I don't want that ratchet stuff around, it's like a lot of Black women take personal offenses. Like I'm saying I don't want you around. What are your thoughts on that? That's just something I've observed. But what are your thoughts on that?
I don't necessarily think, okay, I do think like ratchet, people do associate that with be Black women and so forth for just being Black, like, oh, you're too ratchet, whatever the case may be. But I don't take it personal. Like, oh, you're being ratchet. I don't think that's you personally attacking me. I think that may just be a characteristic or something that you just see within my actions. But I don't think that values me as a whole, if that makes any sense.
Now, so what I'm saying, okay, what I'm trying to say is, so what are your thoughts on the Black, like just people thinking ratchet stereotypes and being ratchet should go hand in hand with Black women? Like why do you think that's a thing? But why do you think that is a thing? Like, why do you think people think like when you say, if somebody says the word ratchet, what is the first image that pops in their mind? A lot of them, for a lot of people, it's a Black woman. So why do you think that is a thing? Like why is that something that a lot of folks would say it happens?
Maybe because of the actions that they associate with being ratchet. Just as like when you think of ratchet, you think of like being ghetto or being hood or doing too much or acting out or being loud or twerking or showing your ass. So maybe they figure that Black women do that more often. I mean, maybe within like the music videos or even the music that's put out there, and seeing women do this, it's automatically Black women. But it's not just Black women that are out there showing their ass, that are twerking, that are dancing and acting out, whatever the case may be, that are being loud, that are cursing. It's white girls too. It's white women that are doing it all the time. But it's just so often that it's just characterized for just Black women. And maybe they just automatically have that perception, that ideal. I don't even know where it really stems from, but it's just always black women. Like no one ever sees white women, or it's just a passer. Oh, well, they really can't twerk, so we're not going to pay too much attention to them. It's always an excuse for white women. But if a black girl was to act out or be dancing, whatever the case may be, then it's like all this attention on them. It's just over sexualization too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that. It definitely comes down to a lot of the over sexualization, a lot of the things that are directed towards black women in music, in culture. You know, a lot of that stuff does come down. I mean, it definitely is associated with it. Be sure to hit the like, share, subscribe, the thumbs up button, guys, as you enter the chat. We're talking about Mr. Kelley. His restaurant, True Kitchen and Kocktails down in Dallas, had an incident that went viral over the weekend over Mr. Kelley yelling at some of his patrons, talking about the twerking. He didn't want the twerking happening while people was eating they steak dinner and they rib dinners. He didn't want no twerking. He didn't want people hanging on furniture and pressed up against the glass windows. And leave your comments down below to say what you have to, how you feel about Mr. Kelley and what took place at True Kitchen and Kocktails. Now, we're also talking about our culture a little bit, because I think a lot of people are synonymous with associating being ratchet with black women and with black people and black culture. And I think that goes into some of these responses there we are getting towards Mr. Kelley. Now, right, I said earlier, I don't think Mr. Kelley should have yelled or should have cursed a lot, right? Like, because once you start saying curse words to people, they kind of tune you out, right?
Sure.
Like depending on it's almost like you're sunning them, or you attacking them. You're like they're your children or something. And so when you do that, you kind of like you lose a bit of the audience. But for Mr. Kelley, it sounds like he was just
fed up.
He was pissed.
And I mean, he already gave the ladies a warning from the beginning.
Pissed.
If I come over there and have a conversation with you and I ask you respectfully to please stop twerking, please don't stand on my booths, whatever the case may be, and then you turn around and you do it again, what do I need to do? Like, as you said, he gave them other options. Get the F out, go to this place, that place, wherever you want to go. But here, we're not doing it.
No, and that's what it came down to. Now, True Kitchen and Cocktails released a statement. It's very long and very lengthy, but basically what they did, they released this statement saying that, kind of saying what we're saying, that Mr. Kelley lost his cool a little bit simply because he was frustrated with what was taking place at his restaurant and used some words that he probably should have took back as far as the wording. But one thing he did not do, I will say he did not apologize for what he said. He apologized in this statement. It's very lengthy. It's on Facebook. He apologized for the wording, but he didn't apologize for what he said. And I think that is very, very important that he doesn't apologize, because you cannot apologize for what's right. Yeah, for me, I feel like Mr. Kelley was in the right. Like I said, if you go to Cheddar's, if you go to Ruth Chris, if you go to pick your favorite restaurant in your favorite city that's considered, whether it's fine dining or just a restaurant, you don't see people on what's supposed to be upscale, classy or upscale. You don't see people hanging on furniture, twerking, pressed up against glasses and things like that. Now, Bree, how do you feel about the people that say, well, if you don't want people twerking, don't play twerk music? Like, what are your thoughts when they say stuff like that?
And that's what I had to think about too, because I'm just imagining me being there. But again, it's that context. You know where you're at in this fine dining restaurant. If you don't see other people up and dancing, there's not a dance floor. And why would you even get on the restaurant? I think it's just adding all these extra factors on top of that. Like, it's too many layers. Okay, yeah, they had a little ratchet music, a little twerk something music, and that's fine. But that doesn't give you the permission to just stand up and do this, that, and the other. You still have to respect it. So I think if it was a different element, if they had a little dance floor, I could totally see why they would get up and dance. But just the fact that it was a restaurant, because I've been to restaurants where they play great music, and I'm in there like getting it, but I'm also sitting down. I'm in the booth. I'm not getting up. I'm not standing on anything. I'm not walking through the crowd and shaking my butt. Like, it's not all that going on. So I definitely think it's all about a time and a place and respecting that. You knew there wasn't a dance floor. You knew that it wasn't that kind of environment. He already spoke to you one time. So that was just, you knew.
Yeah. No, you definitely, they definitely knew. And what I think,
so it was intentional, they're dancing.
Yeah. And what I think hurts too, with a lot of black folks, what happens is, like, you get called an Uncle Tom or whatever when you don't do the status quo. See, like a lot of black folks, they'll go to these like white establishments or go to these places that are not ran by black people and abide by the rules. They'll abide by everything that goes on. If they say no twerk, and they won't twerk. If they don't, I mean, these people wouldn't have went to Ruth Chris standing on the furniture. If Ruth Chris was playing Cardi B or Meg or whatever, they wouldn't have been standing on the damn furniture, hands pressed against a glass, right? Like, which is, Mr. Kelley brought that up in his statement on Facebook. He was like, man, one of the biggest reasons why I had to stop him is because she's standing on this furniture, on this stool, on this booth, and pressed up against this glass window.
That's a hazard.
Exactly. If you fall through this damn glass, you gonna be suing me.
Exactly.
So that's the number one reason out of everything. And these people wouldn't go to Ruth Chris. They wouldn't go to all these, pick your favorite restaurant and do all of this. They'd abide by their standards or abide by whatever their rules and stipulations are. But some reason, because they're at True, and True plays black music and has a lot of black customers, and they have a black owner, and so therefore I can do whatever the hell I want. That's not how it works. No, and True is still a business.
And I think that even just goes into respecting each other just as the black community, because just as you said, if you would have went to these other white establishments, you wouldn't have thought twice about getting up and twerking. But now that you see it's your people, oh, that's my fam, whatever the case may be, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and dance. I could show my ass because that's what we do. But that's not what everyone does. That's not what he wants in his establishment. And what he wants there is what he wants. And you have to respect that. It's his restaurant, just as he said.
Yeah. Now there also, with this True thing going viral, there's been a few people to send donations to Mr. Kelley. Now I applaud those people. There's a guy by the name Marcus Williams. He's from Twitter. He was writing on Tariq Nasheed's Twitter page and says, I'm sending True a donation of $50 because I like what he does. He said, I am sending True Kitchen a $50 donation. As an owner of a bookstore for over 21 years, I am disgusted by a lot of the responses to Kevin Kelley and his restaurant. Some people don't know how to act in public. Shake my head. So he sent $50, and Tariq Nasheed actually sent $500 to True Kitchen and Kocktails down in Dallas because they like what Mr. Kelley is standing for. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and leave some comments because we're having a good dialogue about the, basically restaurant etiquette, right? Like, you're at a restaurant etiquette, and simply because True Kitchen and Cocktail plays some good music, a lot of folks don't have proper restaurant etiquette. And at the end of the day, this is still a restaurant. It's still a restaurant. We're owned by Mr. Kevin Kelley, and he seems to be doing a good job. Seems to be successful. Now, with this viral rant all over the internet, what do you think? Now, Mr. Kelley has already put out a statement. It's a long one. It's on Facebook. He's already put out a statement, but he does not apologize for what he said. He apologized for the wording. But what do you think is a lesson that could be learned, not just by Mr. Kelley, but by a lot of black people from this kind of incident in terms of restaurant etiquette, or in terms of just, how we should be able to respect one another and one another's businesses?
I just think uplifting the black community. Just as he said, this is a space created for us. Just because you have the space created for us doesn't mean that you need to take advantage of it and utilize it for extracurricular dancing or activities there, but definitely utilize this in promoting him. I think that should definitely be moved forward as far as like etiquette and just how to like respect other people's place in their area. Just whatever they're passionate about, instead of making fun of it or trying to bring them down. Because that's all that's going to happen is he's just going to become a meme. There's already memes that are out about it now. It's just basically taken as a joke. So are people even really going to learn anything from this? Are they going to move forward and do anything differently?
I would hope so.
I mean, like, seriously, because it's just a meme right now.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is a lot of people, I mean, like you said, they're just upset with Mr. Kelley because they feel like, what I'm saying? You ain't down for the people. You're not letting us twerk. And I think I seen one tweet that called him like a misogynist because for whatever reason, I have no idea what that was about. But I think this was a good thing for some people to hit, as far as getting their views and getting their tweets off about, I mean, I hate to say it, I don't want to sound like this guy, but like the big, scary, angry black man, right? Like the big black man comes in a restaurant, he busts up all the fun, and he you know what I'm saying? He don't let us twerk to our Megan and to our Cardi, and he's putting down the black women. They're using this as another assault or attack on black men, putting down black women, and that's not what's happening. Like, all that's happening and he says it in the viral video. If you go look at it, he says, I hold our men to the same standard. He said, I hold men to a high standard when they come into our space. Basically, it sounds like he don't want a whole bunch of BS going on in his restaurant from the men. So therefore, he must hold the women to the same standard. And sometimes for some people, when that happens, when you're held to a higher standard, you get rebellious and you feel like somebody's picking on you or something like that. And it's not, he ain't picking on you. He's just holding you to the same standard he'd hold anybody else. And I respect that. As a person who partakes in restaurants quite often, I respect that someone, especially a black man who owns a black-owned restaurant, is holding his customers, not just his staff, his employees, himself, but also his customers to a higher standard. And I can respect that all day. All day I can respect that, man. So shout out to you, Mr. Kevin Kelley, and the True Kitchen and Kocktails in Dallas, Texas. You guys, this is the Black Boss channel. I'm Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with Miss Brianna Roberson. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Now, Bree, before we get out of here, we're about to wrap this up. We've been talking about the True Kitchen and Kocktails, the viral video that took place down in Dallas. Mr. Kevin Kelley, he was caught on camera. He was going off. He snapped on his patrons about everything that was taking place. And now, what are your thoughts before we get out of here on some of the portrayal of said black men with, just the whole thing about black men downgrading black women? Like, do you think this is something that's kind of contributed to why Mr. Kelley's video has gone so viral?
Oh, definitely. I definitely think it does have a lot to do with that, because it's just like a black man trying to tell a black woman, don't do this. You're not supposed to do that. Don't act out this way. You can't twerk, whatever the case may be. But that wasn't his intentions at all. But that's what it's perceived and made out to be. And then, just as you said, with people adding in their commentary on Twitter and social media, it's just aiding in that. But that's not what it was at all. But I definitely think that does have to do with like the control, and then him wanting black women to be a certain kind of manner. But yet, just as he said, I'm holding black men to this same standard as well.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about our community, man. Like our community has, like, the feminist movement that was created by white people has really, it's really given even black women a different voice. And some black women and black men, just due to like the feminist movement, I can kind of be confused, right? Like, we want our women to be strong. We want our women to be breadwinners and to be independent to a certain extent, like to be independent. But at the same time, like we still want our women to be women, right? We want our women to be nurturers, to be lovers, to be there for us. And you can do all of that and not be quote unquote ratchet, right? Like yeah, you can do all of that and not take offense till if I want you to be that way, right? And so some people take offense because they want to be very independent or overly independent in feminist movement and rah, all that stuff. They take offense to when we just say, sometimes we got to tone it down. Sometimes we need to scale it back. And the men, and we put our men in the same category. We like the strong black men, the strong leaders, like Mr. Kelley seems to be like a strong black man. They just hold everyone to the same standard, everyone to a higher standard. And it don't matter if you at school, if you're in the workplace, or if you're at a restaurant. I'm just holding you to a certain standard. And that's all it seemed like Mr. Kelley was trying to do. And that's all it seemed like he was trying to get across in this video. And so I applaud him. I applaud the people down at True Kitchen and Kocktails, because they did not apologize for what's right. And I can always get down with that. Brianna, last thoughts?
No, this was a good talk.
It was a really good one. No problem. Once again, you are tuned into the Black Boss channel. Be sure to hit the like, share, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button on your way out. And we will see you guys next time.